a lot of people aren't getting a cash offer all up front for their business. There's a portion up front. There's performance bogeys on the back end. They're also getting potentially, offered equity in the buying firm as well. So the total multiples altogether, it's not an all cash offer. There's definitely some strings attached.
Oh, no question. It's funny. I actually am just writing a blog right now of whether you should be getting cash versus equity and what's the value of equity, right? And so that's coming out, online, et cetera. But that's an important part of that discussion of, okay, what's the equity and what's the equity going to grow at? Is the equity of value? Going back to my philosophy, if I think about the next 5 years, and if we're in the second or third inning in a 9-inning game, then there's going to be so much consolidation and growth that, it's likely a lot of these companies are going to continue to do well, but there's always things to be leery of, right? Not everyone's going to do well. And when we think about that growth rate, when we think about how firms are able to monetize their own growth, right? That growth then comes from what becomes their next turn. And so having equity in a company, it's not just, it's definitely feasible that company will grow at a fast rate and that equity will grow at a fast rate, but it's not a guarantee. And all things aren't created equal. When we think about helping advisors select the firms that they're going to, and from the firms and we think about how much equity they could take, certainly there's a willingness of what they'd be interested in taking, but we also think about, okay, what's the growth rate of this firm? How much debt do they carry? What's their historical growth rate? Have they solved for all three components of growth? Is it organic growth? Is it next gen growth? And is it acquisition growth, or is it just purely an acquisition roll-up on growth, which it clearly has a greater level of risk to it? So equity is highly valuable, especially if it's growing, doubling every 2 years, which we've seen in some of these cases. But it also could be riskier, especially as we start getting further into a more mature consolidation game.